I gave my exams and I got married.
She wrote her finals and cleared her finals of CA when she was a mother of 3 at the age of 37.
Year 2000, my husband got detected with brain tumor.
But the more I hear about it, more it absorbs, it feels so unreal.
But there was a sense in me, in my mind, that I've left something unfinished. You are actually supporting budding entrepreneurs. We are covering all aspects of a startup would need for growth. It's basically a mindset that nothing can stop you in your life.
Even if one entrepreneur gets inspired, I would think that you have been a blessing to entrepreneurship kind. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wonderful entrepreneurs. It's just a world of so much of unlimited opportunities, right? Another show of Entrepreneurship Unplugged. It's my honor and a pleasure. But before that, let me ask you one important question. I asked myself, is it important for an entrepreneur to have audacious goals? And if that question required any kind of answer, that answer is there right here with me on our show of somebody who decided to be audacious. Not in the conventional sense, but somebody who decided to be audacious to make sure that she breaks barriers, breaks boundaries, gets into a zone where no woman or man has looked at entering. That's how I look at her. That's how she inspires. The one and only chartered accountant. I need to say that for a particular reason, okay? I'll tell you why. Monica Gupta. Monica, welcome to this podcast. It's our honor to have you here.
Thank you so much, Suresh, for having me here.
Thank you very much. So, did you guys see that expression on her face? That's how the audacious expression looks. Yeah? Some of you want to know what is audacious? That's the expression. Thank you, Monica. So, I want to speak to you, Monica, about the essence of an entrepreneur. And what do you think are the various facets of somebody who wants to get defined as an entrepreneur in your experience and opinion?
Okay. So let's start with who is an entrepreneur. Okay. I would say that an entrepreneur is a person who looks or identifies a new opportunity. He or she then weighs the risks and the rewards, connected with that opportunity, and then takes the plunge of starting a new venture, manages and organizes and all the risks associated with that particular venture, and then takes the responsibility of failures or rewards associated with that particular with that particular venture. Now, having defined an entrepreneur like this, I would say who is the right or who is a great entrepreneur? So, a person who's resilient, who's innovative, who's definitely a risk taker, a team player, and very strong on integrity. And I would say the last thing is adaptability, because situations, times, phases keep changing. So these would be, basically, in my eyes, an essence of a great entrepreneur.
Superbly said. I know you for a while, for a long time. When I said I know you for a while, it means every single time we interact, there's a new quality of entrepreneurship that I get from you. You get inspired me. When you said about teamwork, of integrity, of adaptability, of looking at risks and rewards, of balancing that responsibility, I want to speak to you, wonderful audience, wonderful entrepreneurs, of Monica being a chartered accountant. She gave her finals. I can let the cat out of the bag, right?
Yeah, sure.
When, hear this, bated breath. So I hear this every single time and I get to tell myself, am I seeing, am I hearing what is the answer? What is it that is coming out to me? What is resonating? She wrote her finals and cleared her finals of CA when she was a mother of 3 at the age of 37. That's the kind of adaptability that you did to manage home, family, and the fact that you wanted you to be independent. Is that caused you to make sure that you did something which was incomplete? Was it a zid? Was it a method in what you want to do? What made you do this? Because when the more I hear about it, more it absorbs. It feels so unreal. So what made you go out there and become a chartered accountant at that age, in that status of being a mother of three and the responsibility of a wife and daughter and all of that? What made you do that?
Yeah. So I gave my CA finals, and then I gave my exams, and I got married
Oh,
in within the next month.
right.
And I think I was married into a very a business Punjabi family, very well doing business Punjabi family, and they were very excited to have a CA bahu in the family. And the very next month, when my results came, I had flunked. So, for the first time in my life, I had flunked.
Okay.
And actually, I tried giving it again, a second attempt, and within 6 months, but I didn't clear at that time. And I took a decision in my own head that शादी के बाद तो पढ़ाई नहीं होती, छोड़ दो, you know. And then I got involved with my usual, as a homemaker, and got involved with family life. The kids happened one by one. And but there was a sense in me, in my mind, that I've left something unfinished and incomplete, and that was always there at the back of my mind. And around 2000, in around year 2000, my husband got detected with brain tumor, and he had to get operated. And during those years, I felt that I need to complete my qualification, because the sense of incompletion was always there. And also, although we are very, money is not an issue, but it's always good to have, your qualifications in place, or so there is a sense of confidence that if come what may, whatever happens in life, you will be able to take care.
Have your own identity in that sense.
And yeah, have your own identity in place, and kids are there, so you are more confident in life in general. And then I took the decision that I should complete my education, and enrolled my family who stood by me. And in the year 2007, I completed my CA. I gave it group by group, so I completed luckily in the first attempt.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's how I became a chartered accountant.
Wonderful. So that essence of not leaving something incomplete, or not leaving something completed and leaving it incomplete and wanting to complete it, is that a zid that entrepreneurs should have? कि incomplete है तो complete करना ही चाहिए? They should apply a mind towards it, or is it that it's fine to leave some things incomplete, or is it important to complete? Does it cause a rupture in the entrepreneur's mind if something is left incomplete? Will that make them less efficient moving forward in their journey?
So, in my perspective, I think nothing should be left incomplete. When you leave things incomplete in your life, it could be incomplete conversation. It could be, an incomplete transaction. It could. So, what do you mean by incomplete? Like for me, if I am okay with leaving something incomplete, I've in my mind that is fine with me. Then it's a complete transaction, or it's a complete thing.
You're content with that.
You're content with that, because in your mind you're okay with it, you've moved on in life.
Right.
But if there is something which I want to do still, and I think no, it has been left behind, it will be constantly niggling me.
Right.
And that is an incomplete conversation, or an incomplete thing which is there, and that will not allow me to proceed ahead in life. So, because I will be always pulled back by that incomplete work or conversation or transaction. So, I think it is very important to complete all conversations and actions in your life if you really want to move ahead powerfully.
Got you. So basically, the instinct and the gut of the entrepreneur, I'm giving it an entrepreneurship twist to this significant trait of not to leave anything incomplete. The completeness should have in the mind first, right? If that is complete, then leave
Yeah,
it that way.
yeah.
Otherwise, do make it a point to make that as part of something that you have to finish. Otherwise, you'll always feel you're chained. Something is dragging you
Something
back.
is missing,
Yeah.
something is pulling you back,
Yeah.
and you're not able to move ahead with full gusto.
Got you.
Yeah.
So that's the amazing story of the mom who decided to get her CA done, and then comes the twist in the tale. You decided not to be just a practicing CA. there's so many of them. You decided to get into a journey that would empower entrepreneurs, and you went out of your comfort zone to look at launching early seed ventures. ESV, like we all know it so fondly, hope for so many entrepreneurs. Uh, ESV happened because you wanted to give something to the entrepreneur space, or it happened because of the times that we are in the entrepreneurship space that we are in. India is growing, a lot of entrepreneurship happening. What was the first trigger for you? Let me do something for entrepreneurs, or that it's a good time, good climate in the country. What was the first trigger that caused you to get into forming ESV?
So, even the fact that I did my CA at the age of 37, it's basically a mindset that nothing can stop you in your life when you want to move forward or whatever you want to take up in your life. And incidentally, I was a part of a forum called Landmark Forum, and that is where this blind spot opened up for me. And the same thing happened when I was 49 and COVID had happened. And we were looking, I got this opportunity to enter into the startup ecosystem space by, I was offered regional partnership with one of India's leading angel funds. And I was 49 and I knew nothing about investment banking or fundraising or, the whole startup ecosystem space. And again, I thought, why not? This looks to me like something which is very interesting. And this is where, you are actually supporting budding entrepreneurs in their journey, in their business journeys. And I am very passionate about communicating with different kinds of people, learning to know more about their businesses, and what really makes them tick. So I thought, why not? Let's go ahead and try and come into this ecosystem.
Got you.
And that's how I took that leap again in 2020, 2021. And ESV was born at that time. And yeah, we started off as being regional partners with one of
To
India's
the
leading
angel
angel
firm,
funds.
right?
But very soon, what we saw was that just one fund, who's got a specific investment thesis cannot be. We've got so many startups who are curated by us, and we think they are investment worthy. But just one fund will not be able to, support, because every fund has their own investment thesis.
Right.
And that's how we started connecting with other funds, started, having relationships and partnerships with these different funds. And today, 4 years down the line, we are connected with 150 plus,
Wow.
angel funds, syndicates, business, family offices, and so on and so forth, trying to identify what are the investments or what are the businesses they are interested to associate with,
Got you.
understanding where they come from, and then making these, corporate marriages happen.
Wonderful. So in a way, they say, right, what you seek actually seeks you. So the universe of entrepreneurship actually sought you and made you the favorite person to make sure that that particular opportunity available in the market, in the universe of India, can give it a method. That's how probably it came knocking on your doors, right? And you started ESV. So as ESV, Monica, uh, you become an aggregator, you become an intermediary of funds that are deployed by the angel funds or the family offices or individuals, if you may, and deploy it into several sectors. Is that how we do? You have any specific sector preference, or is it agnostic across sectors?
No, we
What
are
do you do?
completely sector agnostic.
Okay.
I mean, I think apart from a couple of sectors like the meat and
Alcohol.
non-veg and
Right.
alcohol, we
Right.
don't promote that
Okay.
because we think it's harmful. So apart from those sectors, we are completely agnostic. And what we look for, in fact, is a great business model, a disruptive space, and of course, the entrepreneur or the founder himself.
So when you do that, it's like deploying funds, or do you also do an entire, if I want to use the word mentoring of the entrepreneur, is that part of the journey that you will take an entrepreneur through, apart from funding?
Yeah. So we actually are three chartered accountants and a lawyer who've come forward, who've formed early seed ventures,
Right.
and there is a reason for this. Is like we want to cover end to end of what a business, a good a fiduciary business should be, which is the finance side of it, the legal side of it. And what we were missing was we had a gap is the business development or the global when these startups want to go abroad. So we've got a very a good director and a strategic partner who's come on board. So within the with the five of us, we are covering all aspects of what and a startup would need for growth and compliances. So, taking your to answer your question, when we take up a founder or a startup as a portfolio company, we try to help them end to end, right from their data room. Now, what is the data room? It's your investment pitch deck, your financial model for the next 5 years, your valuations, market research. These are things which they would need in place before they even start their fundraising. If they have got any orders, the pipeline orders noted down, and your whole data room complete, and then we help them in getting the right funding. We have a good set of funds with us. We have a lot of HNI angels with us. So we invest it either on the direct cap table with these angels, or we get funds in and we help them to complete their round. And then post the money comes in, even their documents like wetting of the term sheets, getting their shareholder agreements in place, till the final stage of actually share certificates being given
Issued.
to the investors, issued to the investors. So this end-to-end process, we help them in that. Now that's where the fundraising journey is there. Post that is very important, which I mean it doesn't end. The actual work starts after you have taken in funds from people, because now you have to utilize it in the manner you've promised or you've envisioned or you've projected what you're going to do with the funds. So having those MIS reports in place, having your informations, formats, templates in place, working with the entrepreneurs, making them realize the importance of these regular reporting which should be done to your investors, and generally for the board themselves. So helping them create all of that is also where we help and we step in.
I see.
Again, if they have any gaps where they need support from us, whether it is with respect to go to market strategies, or going to exploring different markets, or any gaps where they feel they need support, we have with us a wide in our connect spheres a lot of industry leaders, and we can support them with those right industry leaders.
I see. Which means in many forms, in other way of matter of speak, governance of discipline, like board governance, or the importance of having a advisory mindset of having governance of the startups is very important according to you. Governance has to be there from day one, because the usual understanding is let me become big, and that's when I will require a board of advisors or a group of advisors or a mentor or mentors. But is it important to have the governance mindset from day one for
Yes,
startups?
from day one.
Okay.
If you see that there are a lot of startups which have got busted in the last, while there are a lot of startups which have grown, you have more than 150,000 startups who are registered on the DPIIT today.
Okay.
And,
That's the portal which registers startups in India? Okay.
yes,
Okay.
and more than 25-30,000 of them have got invested also.
Okay.
But you also seeing thousands of them failing every year. And if deep dive and see the reasons of their failure, you will see that a lot of them have not paid attention to governance. They have not paid attention to transparency. They have not paid attention to making use of the funds in the manner they had said they would make use of. So a lot of things, and their teams are not having the right back-end support or teams in place. These are the main reasons, if I have to put it very broadly, why these startups have failed. So, and what So on the flip side, or on the other side of the coin, so what really accounts for a successful business, if we have to say, it's being very transparent with all the stakeholders of your business. Now, who are these stakeholders in your business? They would be your customers, your vendors, your team, your investors, in the government.
Right.
So these are the people who are the stakeholders. So being very transparent, honest, and whatever you've promised to them, you endeavor to
Deliver.
deliver those. That is what great business is.
And if it's not happening, then at least inform in time things are not going the way we thought.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of businesses like, for example, if I have to take examples for recent startups, they could be Oyo, they could be Zip. These guys have actually had a lot of times when they could, really things were very tough for them.
right.
And it was a touch and go. But they pivoted, they got back, and today they are, successful, and they've come back, being
leaders.
fantastic leaders.
Yeah.
So there will be tough times when in every business there's going to be tough times, but the thing is not keeping it hidden, but talking about it, because people have shown faith in you, they have invested in you, they are with you. So keeping these things, and you will get solutions from them only.
Fantastic.
From your investors, from your supporters, from your advisors, but you have to keep all your cards on the table and talk to them.
Right. And one thing which comes to my mind is having the emotional stakeholders, which could be your family or those who trusted you. You need to also be transparent to them and be open to them where it's going, because they are your biggest supporters, and you need to be open to them also, instead of just letting them not know what's happening. I think you can find a lot of advice and solace from them also, because an entrepreneurship journey can be extremely lonely. And when you become transparent, like you said, it opens up more support system, right?
Absolutely. Not only, because the emotional strength is equally important.
Yeah.
And your family needs to know, why you are spending so many long hours outside your home, and what is making you so stressed.
Yes.
And they could really be those intangible factors which can deflate that stress, or like you said, probably support can come from quarters which you may not even have identified before.
Right. Thank you for the perspective. Really appreciate that point about entrepreneurship. Probably so many times when you look at the entrepreneurships which have failed, or rather not been successful, some of these small little unis bees would have caused that to happen. And you feel, I wish it would have been better, right? And the governance would make sure that such things don't happen.
Absolutely.
Even if it's an idea which is failing, a newer idea would emerge, and that's how we'll go. Is it important for entrepreneurs in their entrepreneurship ventures to have benchmarks? Do they have to look up to somebody or something which is like top of the line? Is it important to have benchmarks, or they should have a free run, creating new benchmark? How would you look at it?
I would say it is definitely important to have benchmarks. In every vertical, first of all, in your industry, leaders in your particular industry, globally, nationally, globally, look up to them, see the best practices that they have adopted, what have made them, they have reached a particular pinnacle of success because of certain actions or certain things they are doing. So benchmark yourself against, it may look very unreachable at the point, when you start with, but at least you're present to what you have to achieve. And so benchmark the different your different verticals,
Right.
and the different spaces within your company, your finance, the way they do marketing, the way they have customer service. See the best leaders in this in your industry, in your space, and slowly try to see what are the practices they are adopting, and try and start inculcating that in your business, and you will evolve.
Put yourself in their shoes, so to say. Begin early.
Yeah, and you will evolve.
Yeah.
You will have your own things, along with their practices. You will have your own traits and your own things.
Uniqueness which comes out.
Exactly. Your own flavor would be different.
Yeah.
But it'll give you something to look up to and to follow the way forward.
Right. So there's enough support system and inspiration all around. Entrepreneurs to only look out for them, right? Need not feel
Yes,
that it has to be all me alone. It can never be an alone
exactly,
game.
exactly.
And causing leaderships, entrepreneurs say, I know better than my employee or my stakeholder. Is it a good idea to say that I know it all? Not out of ego, but out of maybe ignorance or passion, whatever you call it. Is it important to have somebody with me as an entrepreneur who's better than me? I cause that leadership. Is it important to have that kind of mindset for my enterprise to grow?
Absolutely, it is.
So I need not be as the boss. The founder need not be the boss.
You must have heard of the book Stay Hungry,
Yeah,
Stay Foolish.
foolish.
So the thing is, I, as an entrepreneur or as a leader, you are not expected to know everything, right? You may be very proficient or knowledgeable in your particular domain, but there are different areas of entrepreneurship or of a business which you may not be aware of. You can't be all in one,
Right,
expert in everything.
right.
So, your marketing, your business development, your finance, your legal,
Yes.
there are a lot of things which make up your strategy. You may be great in strategy and your domain, or you may not be in certain factors. So get your tech. You have to hire experts, or you have to outsource experts.
Right.
The whatever works best for your finance at that point in time. But I would say hire people smarter than you in that particular area.
Right.
So if you are not, you have not much idea about, say, legal, please hire the best legal team to help you with your contracts.
True.
Don't think I can do everything myself. And it is not making you small, it's making you smarter as a team,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
So hiring or getting in your advisory circle, either in-house or in your advisory circle, the people who are best in that particular area is something that all successful businesses have done, and you should aim to do that, because
Wonderful.
otherwise that can be a downfall.
Got you.
I think one important thing also that we've seen that founders miss out on is the back end. The accounts, finance, and legal has to be very strong, and they
It should
often
be taken up as a secondary thing. बाद में देखेंगे.
they think that this is something which is ठीक है ना, कर लेंगे, अकाउंटिंग ही करना है.
Right.
या तो लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट है, चलो हमारे अपने अकाउंटेंट भी देख लेगा, हम भी देख लेंगे.
Right.
But there are certain clauses which get missed out on, and that can make or break you, or that particular project. It can go from a profit to a loss because you've missed out on one clause, or not having the right guidance in terms of finance at the right time can really become a loss for you in the long run. And keeping all these things in place, knowing every month what's your profit and loss, what's your having your financials in place with the right team is very important. We have seen lot of startups are in doldrums because their finance team is not strong.
Right.
So this is one of them. Secondly, compliances, governance. You asked, is it you should reach a certain level before you do that? Not at all. You should start it from day one.
The mothering should start when the baby is born, right?
Yeah, because the culture in the system would be that everything has to be in place, and if you think yourself as a unicorn or a very successful business from day one, then you have to have those aspects right now.
Yeah.
You cannot go, you will never reach there if you don't have it right now.
Right.
And your team will have that culture. So today you will be taking smaller investments, and then you keep growing in your various phases of fundraising. But when you come to a time when you're raising a series B or a series C, this is now again the practical aspect of it. The due diligence starts from, they will go back and they will see that your things are not being clear. That's going to be significantly impacting your fundraising even later.
Right.
So you have to have
Multiple
that
aspects.
mindset in your departmental heads, right down to your all team members of how you want to move forward in your in
Got
your
it.
business journey.
So governance is a must. So
100%.
absolutely. So wonderful entrepreneurs. Isn't entrepreneurship really getting unplugged here from the champion herself? And it's been such a involved discussion in terms of unraveling the various aspects of entrepreneurship. Indeed, getting unplugged. The key to become a smart entrepreneur. Don't look anywhere else. It's right here from the champion herself. And I want to speak about this one thing as you do all that. As you do all of this, what is that ESV vision that you have got? Is it impacting so many entrepreneurs? Is it a money number? What inspires you at this point of time? You've been so self-assured and you've redefined audaciousness in the entrepreneurship space with your cool demeanor. What is that ambition that you feel this is where I'm going? This is where ESV should go. What would that be? What is that milestone?
So we want to be, India is moving forward in leaps and bounds in entrepreneurship. And, we have countries, all over the world who are looking towards India to invest in, right? We want to be an integral part of India's growth story and taking these startups to their next levels, fundamentally strong and high on integrity. So, supporting as many entrepreneurs as we can in this journey, in their journey, whether it is fundraising, whether it is growth, mentorship, compliances,
All of that.
yeah, being a part, a support system where we can, help them in all their aspects. And yeah, I mean, we are really, we consider ourselves to be at the ground level where we can, help them to grow forward, because early seed ventures is about your early funds,
Right.
about your early mindset, about your early culture that you fit in the company, and those are creating foundations of your company.
True.
So we would like to be those foundation builders for these startup founders in their growth journeys.
So in a nutshell, very clearly, while there is a lot of merit which you will give as ESP to the idea of the entrepreneur or the idea of the enterprise or uh, the product or the service of the enterprise, but I think that one important aspect you will want to address is the integrity of the entrepreneur, right? At the core. If it's a
Yes.
great idea, everything is great, but you'll find somebody cutting corners, you may not want to look at that enterprise as investable. It's
Yes, not
important
at
to
all.
be transparent and integrated.
Not at all.
So,
Yes.
ordinary idea but great integrity might do very well. An extraordinary idea with integrity lacking might be questioned upon, right? That's how we look at it.
Definitely will be
Wonderful,
questionable.
wonderful. That's
Yeah.
like amazing learnings. I want to go to the last segment here on this amazing conversation. Thank you so much, Monica. But I want to ask you two things. While all of this that you're doing is keeping you so occupied, busy mentally and otherwise across so many domains of enterprise, you are also having that social quotient of being a hardcore, solid Rotarian, right? The other day, maybe you didn't know that I know it, but I know for a fact that you were at Karjat in a village and you're looking at giving so many little children or school-going children's bicycles and part of that Rotary community core activity. Is it important in this journey of entrepreneurship to also have social responsibility? Or is it only that I do when I achieve what I want to achieve? Is it parallel or is it to be done once I achieve my goal as an entrepreneur? How would you advise entrepreneurs?
So, see, once you've achieved, you've moved on, you've got your experiences, and you've been an entrepreneur, and you moved on in life. You want to give back to society. That's one thing.
Right.
Second is, during your progress and during the way your
Journey is evolving.
journey as an entrepreneur is going on, you're doing that on an ongoing basis. So I would definitely advocate the second one,
Right.
where you are, it's a part of your life,
Yeah.
giving back to society. Don't wait for until I am, 60 and above.
Yeah.
I'll,
Or
start
so much
doing.
of wealth I'll create, then I will do whatever.
Yeah. Try and do it ongoingly. And let me tell you, it also helps you in your work.
Yeah.
Because, for example, when you are actually, with a you're doing it in a structured manner with an organization. For example, I'm a Rotary member,
Right.
and you pointed out to this particular project we had been. Now, I was giving a talk. It was a great project, and we distributed 250 cycles to the girl child. We distributed period panties to them. We also had around 160 women from the villages who we did medical, cancer detection camps, a camp for them. And I was also giving a small talk on microfinance, banking, insurance to these women. Now, while I was talking to them, I realized that while all of them or most of them have bank accounts opened,
Right.
thanks to the government schemes over here, but they were really, they had no idea about Bima and about insurance and about these micro loans and about these self-help groups that have been created. I mean, the government is doing so much for them, but they had no idea
Right.
that there is so much help being offered, because they were not even aware of it. That's one aspect. So, and also if these things become known to them, they have small micro entrepreneurs can be created all over.
Right.
And effectively, certain things you may even pick up for your business,
Yeah, I
because
know.
at root level, ground level,
Yeah.
village level, what is happening, you can identify. They are the mass.
Yeah.
They are the consumers.
Yeah.
So a lot of things happen when you work on ground level.
Right.
I mean, you don't work on that with the motive of, getting any profitability out of it, but with the motive of supporting people and trying to understand where they're coming from.
Right.
So when you're doing that, it'll automatically help you in all spheres of your life. Growing as an individual, that empathy factor coming in you, growing as an individual will always have a positive impact on your work and your business also.
Got you.
So I think this thing should be there for all
The
entrepreneurs.
social responsibility should be
Yes.
taken along. A lot of common sense you'll get at the grassroots level, which usually is uncommon, is what you can also get, right, from such ventures.
Yeah.
Finally, as we get the camera to stop, I want to ask you about networking, entrepreneurship. I'm a techie. I'm into some domain. I'm not out there. I'm creating a component. I'm creating an IP. I'm an entrepreneur. How important is entrepreneurship dependent on the capability of the entrepreneur to network? Is it imperative to network, or is it okay if I don't do? How would you look at networking with relation to entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship?
So I would say, in today's world, entrepreneurs and founders are very fortunate that networking and the scope of networking has increased so much. Like in earlier times, they didn't have this opportunity. A lot of things have evolved in entrepreneurship, and networking is one of the key things. So there are a lot of conferences happening, a lot of mixers happening, a lot of expos happening, and a lot of business networking groups being created.
Right.
This is all for the sole purpose that you actually interact with each other, get to know not only your you can make customers over there, you can meet your investors over there, you can meet collaborators over there. So from unique corners, you get to meet people whom you would never have
Right.
the opportunity of meeting before. So networking is become
Right.
like a fundamental thing today. You should be, doing it.
In it.
Yeah. And if not you can't go yourself. Send your team members over there.
Right.
Make your database, there ready. And now, just yesterday, I was talking to somebody who was into patents and trademarks, and he was telling me about, what's a well-known patent. I said, what is a well-known patent? He said, you have to work towards making a well-known patent is something like, a Godrej or a Britannia or a Colgate. These are well-known patents. But how do they become that? It's by their presence being everywhere.
Right.
So wherever you go, you meet people, you take part in exhibitions, you are a part of a panel discussion, or you are a part of a business group. Wherever your brand is being present, take photographs, go over there and create a whole
Visibility window.
print, I mean, what do you call, footsteps around wherever you have been. And these all things later on will also help you. Not only immediate is getting immediate customers, investors, and collaborators. But in the long run, this helps you create, build up on your, patents and your having
The
your
connections will
brand
really
presence.
brand
Yeah.
presence. Yes. Thank you very much, Monica, for the enthralling conversation. So, you wonderful entrepreneurs, if it's the brand for entrepreneurship support, for early seed funding, early seed angeling, if I can use the word, you don't have to look anywhere else but to look at this amazing champion of entrepreneurs, Monica Gupta, Early Seed Ventures. Monica, it's a honor. Absolutely delighted with the time that we spent. And even if one entrepreneur gets inspired, I would think that you have been a blessing to entrepreneurship kind. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Suresh. Thank you very much.
God bless. I hope you found this episode insightful and engaging. Leave a like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of entrepreneurship.